When the lights go down, the truth comes out.
Tucker, you're not the father. This has to be wrong!
After Hours with Alex Stein. No filter.
If it was okay to have anal sex.
No apologies.
You were talking about things that probably you shouldn't talk about.
The undisputed king of trolling.
I finally had my own show!
At one point, your ancestors owned slaves.
They tried to cancel us.
Deplatforming works.
She wants to kill babies, but she's still beautiful. Look at that booty on AOC. That's my favorite big booty Latina.
Politics, culture, hypocrisy.
They want them to have their penises cut off.
Uncensored and uncontrolled.
Cut your penis off, actually.
That's what I'm saying. They admit they want to cut people's penises off.
Late night just got dangerous. After Hours with your host, Alex Stein, starts right now.
Good evening. It's a beautiful Thursday night, and we got a lot to talk about, but I have to start the show on a serious note. The transgender shooter that tragically killed his wife and son at the Pawtucket, Rhode Island youth hockey game was a big-time hater of the pimp on a blimp, Alex Stein. That's right. We found this out this morning that apparently Robert Dorgan did not like me. And it breaks my heart because I feel like if Robert, or I'd like to call him not by his dead name, Roberta Esposito, if Roberta Esposito could have truly known me or actually met me in person, that maybe I could have de-radicalized this trans person or at least pushed them in the right direction. Now, you guys know that I'm very well known for being outspoken against some of the trans ideology that is plaguing our society. That's no secret. But when it comes to an adult, I believe that we live in a free country. I don't necessarily love that a guy is wearing a dress, but I do believe that you should have the freedom to choose whether or not you want to wear a dress. So Roberta Esposito hated my guts. I want to start off with this first tweet. This is Roberta getting mad at me, but also saying that they did like when I confronted Eric Swalwell. So politically, we were not that far off, Roberta, and this is why I'm frustrated. Because if I would have been able to talk to you, I could have talked you off that ice rink. And I don't think that you would have tragically murdered your wife and son, because what I would have done is encourage you to join the military. And yes, I know you're older, but maybe we could get you in the Merchant Marines, maybe as a reservist. There were outlets where you could use your mental illness as a benefit to society. And that's why I don't want to demonize people that are mentally ill. We just need to kind of put them in a system where they can operate and it doesn't harm their family. I mean, really and truly, Roberta would have been a great soldier. The fact that he was able to shoot somebody in that hockey rink, when it comes to a soldier, that's one of the hardest parts. It's hard to have that kind of mentality that you want to take another person's life because most people would be too scared to do it. I know I would, but not Roberta Esposito. So Roberta, it just really breaks my heart to know that you would tweet about me and talk about me in a negative way, which I guess shows that I'm on the right side of history, but I digress. I wish we could have talked. We could have had one conversation. Because I think that me laughing at you, and I know you got laughed at by all of your peers, by everybody in your children's school, and all of your family, I think that I would have been the one person that could have actually gotten through to your hard-headedness that caused the death of your ex-wife and your son. Now, you know, this is a very serious subject, you know, we shouldn't make light of it. But I mean, when there's a guy that's 6'3" wearing bikini bottoms and a bra and they cut off their genitals and they shoot somebody, I don't know. I think that one we can laugh at. And I'm not trying to be insensitive to the victims. And I would argue this, that the victims are probably in a better place now. Not that they want to be dead, of course, but could you imagine living your whole life with a trans dad that is purposely embarrassing you? And then some of the tweets by Roberta saying that he's hotter than his wife. I mean, this was a disturbed individual that probably should have been in a loony bin that I hope Trump builds right now so we can throw these Roberta Espositos in there. But at the same exact time, life is short. We got to laugh a little bit, but we're not going to laugh at the victims. We're going to laugh at Roberta, excuse me. And Roberta really didn't like me. Let's play this let's show this other tweet where Roberta called me an insufferable douchebag. Look at this. That's what Roberta called me. And come to find out, Roberta was also an anti-Semite. And then on top of all this, not only was he an anti-Semite, his son was arrested in 2024 for burning down a black church in Providence, Rhode Island. So this was a sick individual that had terrible taste. And I'm really sad because I think I could have fixed her. I could have fixed you, Roberta. I know you're watching this from hell. And you probably wish you were still here so you could wear those hoochie mama shorts and embarrass your family. But now you just have to watch the show with Lucifer. And that's just the harsh reality of the situation. So we need to stop enabling mentally ill people that think they're a woman when they're clearly a biological man. And we should try to encourage people not to cut off their genitals. Because once you cut off your penis, it's over. It's game over. I mean, really and truly, I hate to be so, nasty, but when you're a man, it all comes down to your penis. That's the reason we want to look good. That's the reason we want to drive a nice car. That's the reason we want to wear nice clothes. It's because we hope that we can use our penis one day. So as soon as we cut off that penis, we basically have no motivation for love or joy because, let's be real, getting busy is some of the most fun that a man and woman can have. But Roberta lost the ability to have any sort of sexual pleasure. When Roberta decided to have gender reassignment surgery, that was the final straw for his wife to call for divorce. And the fact that she stayed with you up until that moment says a lot about the character of her. And I think that she was a high moral character person that wanted to keep her family together. And the only reason she stayed with you is because she had kids. And she probably thought that if she was with you, like I feel if I would have met you, we could have helped you. But some people are too far gone. And a huge indication of that is somebody willing to pay another man or woman, for that matter, to cut off their genitals. So Roberta Esposito was a dickless child killer. But I do think that I could have fixed her. All we needed was a few minutes together, and I could have at least steered you in the right direction. A direction where you could have used your homicidal rage on an enemy like Iran. I think you would have been the perfect soldier to send to Iran. But instead, now we're going to send some 18-year-old kids that, probably actually have a life to live and probably didn't cut off their penis in some sort of mentally ill, impulsive decision. So everybody, just remember that I am on the right side of history, but we should have saw the signs because here, tweet number 3, this is Roberta celebrating me getting assaulted by this was a pro-Palestine protesters that I was assaulted by. And look what he says. He goes, well, there's something new, a Jewish agitator getting his ass kicked. Well, I mean, obviously he loved violence, and me getting my ass kicked, that wasn't a lot of fun. I don't like to get my ass kicked, but I'm happy in your sick, demented mind that I could give you pleasure for even 5 seconds, because that's how dark the world is, where these people are enabled and encouraged to do this by mainstream media outlets like CNN, which he didn't watch. Roberta was famously a MAGA supporter, which makes me think that this is some sort of psyop, that the FBI probably knew who he was, and they were probably the ones that were enabling this, because you'd have to think there was somebody that was counter-signaling him the whole time, telling her, that Roberta was doing the right thing when everybody around Roberta was embarrassed by it. His kids were embarrassed. His wife was embarrassed. The wife's parents were embarrassed. They all told him not to do this, and he still did it. So I'm just speculating this. I have no evidence yet. But I do think somebody was manipulating him, or at least encouraging him to do this, to embarrass his family, to embarrass himself, and then to embarrassingly support MAGA. Now, he might have been a MAGA supporter, but I think what they did is they radicalized a guy that was already conservative, scrambled his brain like an omelet, and then motivated him, or how do I say, I call it MK Ultra, mind control. And I know that sounds a little too conspiratorial for some people that are watching this, but believe it or not, the government has been doing mind control experiments since before we were born. They've been wanting to know, how do you manipulate a person into being basically a Manchurian candidate where they will just go and do whatever you say. And I think that could be a possibility with what happened to Roberta, because Roberta was a staunch conservative, but no conservative is really that into transgender ideology. So it seems like, a very hypocritical stance to take, to be trans, but to also be MAGA. It seems like he was trying to demonize MAGA. He was trying to make MAGA look bad. And I guess you did your job, but at the end of the day, I'm coming out smelling like roses because you hated my guts, so that's good. But I do also think I could have fixed you, Roberta. If I could have just spent a few moments together, you would still be with us, shining bright in your thong, riding around on Harleys like every woman does, and being a great dad like every woman wants to be. So, rest in peace, Roberta. My heart goes out to your family. My heart goes out to the victims. And my heart goes out to the whole entire town of Pawtucket, Rhode Island, who I know is really struggling right now. But things will be better because you get to watch this show, right? So everybody that's sad about that, watch this show. It'll make your life a little better, even if a horrible shooting happened in your small town. I know. I have that power. I had the power to radicalize this guy to kill his family, so I'm obviously pretty powerful. But I don't think that I did that. Maybe I did. And if I did, then I'm sorry. If I was responsible for this, which I probably am slightly, I probably am part of the reason that pushed him over the edge, that made him get the gun and load it and shoot his family. But you know what? You can't worry about the things you can't control. And I couldn't control that man. I never talked to him. But if I did, I could have controlled him, could have fixed the situation, and could have been a hero. Kind of like how Mark Wahlberg was almost on one of the planes that flew into the building on 9/11. It's kind of like woulda, coulda, shoulda. Like Mark Wahlberg would have definitely beat up the terrorists and stopped the plane from going into the towers. If I could have met Roberta, I could have changed their mind. Charlie Kirk style. Public debate. And I would have made him take off that dress right then and there. And the world would be a much safer place today. All right, folks. Well, we got a great episode. We got my buddy Ryley's coming on. He's been going super viral, debating on college campuses. That's coming up next. Trust me, you don't want to miss it.